from Desi Romano's on Paris Road in Chalmette. Look at the soft shell crab, the fabulous hamburgers and hamburger steaks, and known for their award-winning mac and cheese. It's time for sportsNOLAtv. Hello everybody, I'm Ken Berthelot. Sitting in today for Ken Trahan, who's on the injured reserve for this week only. He'll be back next week, we think. And it's a pleasure to be with you and have some fun with the guys you visit with almost every Monday night, including the former beat writer for the New Orleans Saints and the columnist for sportsNOLA.com, a guy who started his career very close to Desi Romano's here in Chalmette at the St. Bernard Guide, survived and went big time. Brian Allee-Walsh. Brian, boy, I'll tell you, this is returning to the roots.
Yes, it is. It's a great area, and we're happy to be here at Desi. You know what? Real quick, with Kenny Trahan on the mend that we're going to get into, I don't know if he's actually going to be back next week because we can't get really good information about whether or not he'll be back next week or not. We'll see.
I think I've heard that before from a coach who isn't around this year. Also joining us today, former New Orleans Saints player and a guy who got his Super Bowl ring with the New England Patriots, Torrance Small. Torrance, always glad to have you.
Hey, how we doing? Ken, glad to have you here. And I hope you saw the big sign before you came in. Do your job that Ken left for us.
Hey, I'm just trying to do Ken Trahan's job today, and we are pleased to have as a guest today Herb Tyler, a guy who quarterbacked the LSU Fighting Tigers in 1997 when they were ranked 14th. He's number 14 here to an upset 28-21 win over the number 1 ranked Florida Gators. Wow, touchdown 1, here comes touchdown 2. He had a couple of them in this ball game. Who could catch number 14? Nobody. Herb Tyler, wow, it's like just watching you move today, you haven't lost anything, man.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Ken. I really appreciate being here today. It's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
I tell you what, I've never seen him move that quick before. I didn't know he was that quick.
I was actually a little bit quicker than you.
He is that quick, and we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to look at some New Orleans Saints highlights and then talk about and analyze the game. All of that coming to you from Desi Romano's here on Paris Road in Chalmette on sportsNOLAtv. From the heart of Lakeview to the heart of Kenner, it's Lake Town Harbor. Join us in our family-friendly atmosphere for great daily specials, wraps, po' boys, salads, seafood, and of course, Lake Town Harbor's famous burgers. Come watch the games on our flat-screen TVs or join us before or after games. Open daily for lunch and dinner and until midnight on Friday and Saturday, Lake Town Harbor, 3826 Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
For a fraction of the cost of a new bathroom, New Bath will transform your ugly old tub into a beautiful shower or bath in just one day. Why pay more? Call now for a free in-home estimate. Combine New Bath's everyday low prices with 50% off installation and get this Hydro Multi-Massage shower system for free. There's no need to rip up your floors or existing plumbing. Your bathroom will be mold-free and watertight.
And it's so easy to clean. I just wipe it down.
It has a seat and a grab bar.
We were able to get the bathroom redone in one day. It was amazing.
It's just the best. I love it.
She really likes our new bathroom.
New Bath also offers affordable walk-in tubs and all types of bathroom conversions at amazingly low prices. So why pay more to go from this to this in just one day? Call 888-781-BATH for a free in-home estimate. Call now and get 50% off installation and a free shower system. Call 888-781-BATH. That's 888-781-BATH. There's no obligation. Call now.
Tired of dentures that don't fit properly? Our implants change everything. Your implant dentures will literally snap into place, so you can take a bite out of life again. Louisiana Dental Center. We'll see you today.
Jimmy Graham's streak of 6 consecutive games with touchdown passes came to an end. You hate to see that because he's just one of the spark plugs on this team, and you just want to see him do so well. Brian Allee-Walsh, goodness gracious, the Saints do not turn the ball over, and they still can't convert it into a victory.
You know, you think of all the missed opportunities inside the red zone, and Jimmy and Drew have you know, they're joined at the hip when it comes to red zone connections, and they weren't able to do it yesterday.
Torrance Small, how much does a loss like that, after you lose, a team loses their first 3 games, how much does a loss like that take out of that team?
Well, the one thing that probably these guys going through right now, we just need a win. How? Don't know. Just need a win. And this is time where your vets have to step up. This is time I think the coach need to step up. Everybody need to be held accountable to do their job, do what they're supposed to do, because it's a lot of blame on this team right now. We can go down the line from the coaches to the players to the reserves. We can go down the line and blame this on to the people who are not there. We can blame. So even to Roger Goodell, we can blame. So it's a lot of blame to it.
And we have.
Yes.
And we will. And we will. We will continue to do that with Roger Goodell.
Yes. But the thing is, these guys going to have to go and look at themselves in the mirror and find out, what can I do to help this team?
Herb Tyler, as a leader, when you were playing at LSU, after a loss, and you didn't have very many of them, but the few that you had, you led your team in the first 31 games to a 25-6 record. What would you personally do as a leader to get the guys up?
The first thing you got to do is you have to learn from your mistakes and what you did wrong in that particular situation, and then you got to forget about it. You let it go. You got to move on. You have to build on what you have done correctly throughout that particular course of that week, and then you just got to let it go. You have to move on. Now, the one thing with the Saints, and I've told this to Torrance a little bit earlier, and Brian as well, is the fact that they have to run the football. You cannot have Drew Brees throw the ball 50 times a game and expect to win. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen in any league.
Herb, you bring up a great point, and Torrance, you brought up the mirror thing. Well, they tried the mirrors leading up to the Kansas City game, and it didn't work. You know what I mean? They blew a 24-6 lead. So I'm all for gimmicks.
Well, just because you look in there don't mean you find something.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm all for gimmicks. I'm all for motivational stuff, but it really comes down, you guys know better than Kenny and I, you've got to go out and do it and quit talking and quit.
But you know what else? He said something. Guys, it's not just the bad plays. We have to forget about the good plays. Super Bowl is gone. Sean Payton's gone. All that is in the past. This is a new team. You have to come out and you have to play. You have to find your own identity. We don't have an identity right now. Until they find it, it's going to be more the same.
Hey, the one thing I'll say is the past couple of weeks, the last 2 weeks, they have shown a lot of heart. They have played a lot harder than they did, I thought, the first game and the second game. So I think they made huge strides by doing those things.
Some of the strides are going to have to come defensively. They allowed Green Bay in the red zone 5 times and gave up 4 touchdowns in 5 attempts. Somehow, when the defenses of old were here for the New Orleans Saints, they forced a lot of field goals. And look, in this league today, with receivers as good as they are and offenses as good as they are, if you let somebody score touchdowns every time they get in the red zone, you're in trouble. So the defense, the defense has to continue to improve.
Well, one thing, I guess we talked about this. One thing they have to do, we're going to have to scheme better. I think Spagnuolo's going to have to come out and just try to ride this ship and try to scheme. We're going to have to blitz more. We're going to have to throw a lot of different looks. One way I know we can help, people might not like it. We might have to trade and get somebody else in here. We have plenty of running backs. Marking probably the best bait that we have. I say we probably trade him, try to get a defensive player, and get some help in here because we need some more talent to come in here to help us out.
Never in the history of the Saints have they started 0-4 and won more than 7 games. So some people are asking Brian Allee-Walsh, is the season over?
Oh, I don't. That's a hard question because you know what? These guys have played the game. And you hate to sit here and go, from a professional standpoint, that with 12 games remaining, Kenny, that it's over. I'm not about to say it's over, but history says it's over. Since 1990, 77 teams have started out 0-4. Only 1 has gone on to the playoffs, and that's San Diego in '92.
The Saints play this week.
That's right, and they win the AFC West. Can it be done? Absolutely, it can be done, but it's going to be, you're talking about defying odds. You're talking about breaking history, and it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I'm asking, when I say is the season over, it can be done, but can it be done with this defense, without Sean Payton, with the penalties that were given to this team? That's what I'm asking. If this was a regular season and the Saints just stumbled out to an 0-4 start and they had the team they had last year or the year before, I wouldn't think it's over.
Now,
this
Kenny,
is different.
I'll tell you what, if they can win 7 games, I think it will be a minor miracle from a football standpoint at this stage, okay, on what we've seen. You guys may disagree, but I think if they can win 7 of the last 12 games, I think they've done well.
Yes, the thing is with them right now, the hard part is, it's not so much, they can win bowl games, but what I think will bite them at the end if they did have an opportunity to get in the playoffs is they lost 3 conference games. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to come back on them, because looking at the conference right now with the Green Bays, and you're looking at Minnesota leading their division right now, I think it's Washington winning. These, when it comes to the end, these losses are going to come back and bite them. Even if they do turn things around, but we'd like to see them turn things around just to show that they're with the city, because everybody still believes in them. Everybody still wants them to win. We know they can, but some changes are going to have to be made in order for them to win. And I think one is going to have to be on defense.
Well, schemes are schemes, and all of that's fine and dandy. Guys have to be in the right position, have to be in the right place, but they also have to actually play football.
Yeah.
You have to know that,
yes,
hey, if a guy is running a deep out, he has to get to a certain yardage in order to make that cut. And if you're still running like he's running a go, and he's not there anymore, you have to turn around and you have to find a ball. And then also in the defensive line, we have to get some sort of pressure, and we're not getting any pressure from any of our guys. Now, they're playing hard and they're trying hard, but they're not succeeding at what we need them to succeed at.
Herb, we were talking with Scott Shanley last week, and we were talking about Steve Spagnuolo's scheme, how he wants to do it in his 4-3 and everything like that. And it's more complicated than it was under Greg Williams. It's a more complex defensive scheme. The bottom line is that Shanley, this comes from Shanley, is you've got to do away with the clutter and make plays. Now, they made 2 defensive plays yesterday that they hadn't made in previous games. One was Patrick Robinson's interception, good ball, and then Malcolm Jenkins' a fumble recovery inside the red zone. You got to keep making those kind of plays, and they haven't made enough of those at critical times.
Well, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue with some of this Saints-Packers game analysis from Desi Romano's on Paris Road in Chalmette. Ken Berthelot here, sitting in for Ken Trahan on the injured reserve for this week only. He'll be back next week. It's time for Sports NOLA Trivia, and this week's Sports NOLA Trivia question is, Jari Evans started his 100th consecutive game Sunday, the second Saint in history to reach that mark. Who holds the franchise record of 144 consecutive games started? Archie Manning, Wayne Martin, Ricky Jackson, or Derlin Moore? The answer to that trivia question coming in the next segment. So think about it. Wonder if these guys know. You really know, or are you just guessing?
Guessing.
You're guessing?
Guessing.
And whatever he says, I know the answer should be guessing. So let's take a look around the league in week number 4 of the National Football League. Go to the scores and see what's happened here. And I love those Baltimore Ravens. And I'd say maybe one of the best teams in this league. Not maybe, they are one of the best teams in this league this year as they handle Cleveland 23-16. Ladarius Webb, Ed Reed, I love those guys. Ladarius Webb from Nicholls State. And we've got San Francisco shutting out the New York Jets, going to the East Coast and pitching a shutout strong there. And Atlanta continues to roll. They now own the NFC South Division as they hold on and beat Carolina. Then New England over Buffalo, and they made it look pretty easy. St. Louis, a winner over Seattle, and Minnesota defeats Detroit. More scores from NFL week number 4. It's San Diego and the Saints next week. San Diego with a 17-point win over Kansas City, and that's a team the Saints should have beaten, but they didn't, and we know that. Cincinnati over Jacksonville in overtime. Arizona, how about them? Cardinals over Miami. We'll talk about those guys in just a little while. Houston over Tennessee. Denver, an easy winner over Oakland, and Tampa Bay drops one to Washington. How about Washington now 2-2? Giants and Eli struggles against Philadelphia 19-17. Philadelphia the winner in Monday Night Football. Chicago at Dallas, always going to be a good game when those two teams knock heads. What surprises you? What did you like most? And your comments on week number 4 in the National Football League. Brian Allee, let's start with you.
Kenny, I think I liked San Francisco's win on the road, coming east, losing that 3 hours and going there and as you said, pitching a shutout. This comes on the heels of a loss at Minneapolis against the Vikings. It puts the 49ers right back in the thick of it in the NFC West. I thought that was a huge win, an impressive win.
Torrance?
Yes. I like the Minnesota Vikings. Christian Ponder, Adrian Peterson, Percy Harvin. I say those guys are getting it done. But not only them, they have a great defense. They've been stopping teams, and they're putting points on the board. These last few weeks, they've been great, and I'm looking forward to these guys making the playoffs this year, the way they're playing.
Herb.
Yep, I mean, once again, I love the Washington Redskins. I like what RG3 is doing there. He's a young guy. He's leading his team back to, from being down in deficits in the fourth quarter and winning games. And he's showing the poise of a 10-year veteran. And when he was at Baylor, I saw the same thing, and I thought that he would be a very, very good pro quarterback.
And the Saints, who have been a thorn in the side of the Atlanta Falcons, we're now seeing the Falcons, like the Saints of the last 2 years, are finding a way to win, and they are just owning the NFC. We're going to talk about the NFC standings in just a moment, but let's just take a look at Arizona. Have they surprised you?
You know, Kenny, when you looked at the Hall of Fame game back in August, and it was the Cardinals and Saints up at Canton, and if you said at that time one team is going to be 4-0 and one team is going to be 0-4, wouldn't we have said just the opposite?
Just the opposite, exactly.
To me, they're the surprise of the league, really.
Yes, definitely would have flopped it.
Yeah, goodness, great. And any surprise as you guys look at what the Atlanta Falcons have done?
Well, the way they won, I think it's the way they won yesterday. You know, they had
Does Carolina have anybody?
Carolina had opportunity.
Yes.
Carolina had opportunity to win this game, just knocked down the ball, not playing. That's just being smart ball. They didn't play smart ball at the end and gave Atlanta opportunity to win.
Yeah, they really have. Let's take a look at the NFC South standings, and you'll see there that, goodness, the Falcons undefeated 4-0, Carolina, Tampa, 1 win each, the Saints 0. I almost want to say, Herb, that this, goodness, it's done. The Falcons just hand the title to Atlanta.
Well, you can't just hand it to them, but hey, they are running away from it. They look like Usain Bolt, just running down the track and just at a phenomenal rate and speed. But at the same time, it's a long season, and you never know what can happen. Atlanta last year was a pretty good team, same guys on that team. What happens? Do they collapse or do they continue? Does the Saints turn it around? Do the young guys in Carolina, in Tampa, do they turn it around as well? You never know. So it's one of those deals where any given Sunday, anything can happen. So we'll see.
Brian, Torrance, at this stage, can anybody catch the Falcons? What would it take? Knowing how the Falcons are winning and knowing how good that team is and how well they're playing together, what would it take for someone to catch them in this division?
Well, I don't think Mike Smith is going to let this team grow complacent or become complacent. So, you hate to wish ill will on anybody, but it could be injuries could have a factor down the stretch. But you know what? Their defense has improved, and as long as you keep Matty Ryan up, and you've got Michael Turner, and you've got some good wide receivers, and Gonzalez. I mean, he's got some big play weapons. They're a good home team. I don't see them losing it.
Yeah, they're going to win more than 8, 9, 10 games the way they're rolling. And
they're 12.
Everybody else in that league to get to
team.
8 or 9, that's going to be a battle for anybody else in that division to get to 8 or 9. Torrance, your comments.
It is going to be a battle. Atlanta, this is your season right now. This is your opportunity. This is something you guys have been fighting for. You've been coming up short a lot. You've been coming up short. You get to the playoffs. You had home field advantage last year, and you lose. So this is the year, I think this is their opportunity. They're trying to seize it. Now, as for the rest of us, for the Saints, right now we just want to play good ball. The only thing we want to do is play good ball. We want to beat San Diego. That's the only focus the Saints need right now. Forget about the rest of the season. San Diego is the only thing that should be on our mind right now.
I can't believe I'm saying this 4 games into a season, but are the Saints have to play spoilers for the last 12 games?
Yes.
I mean, they have to play spoilers. I can't believe we're saying this with 12 games left in the regular season.
The Saints have to play with a chip on their shoulder because right now they're done. Everybody's counting them out, and you know they have no reason to play hard. They have no reason to do anything. Yes, they do. You know why? Because these guys are professionals. Exactly. You know, and they take pride in what they do. And I know that each one of those guys are going to take ownership in why they're not doing as well as we would like them to do, but they're going to turn this thing around. I think they will. But it's going to be tough to catch Atlanta. Atlanta's a growing team. They're a young team as well. But like you said, Mike Smith won't let those guys, you know, collapse at all. I don't think so.
The only role the other 3 teams in the NFC South might play this year is in the role of spoiler, as Brian said, maybe putting a couple of losses on Atlanta's side of the ledger and costing them a home field, or maybe putting them, dropping them from bye week into the playoffs in the NFL playoffs when we get that far down the road. Real quick before we take a break, anything really surprise you in the first 4 weeks of this season?
Yes.
Go ahead, T. I mean, the Saints being 0-4 is just a shock.
I should have said besides that, absolutely, yes. But
I don't think anybody would have thought that.
No.
Yeah, that's the big shocker. And Arizona being 4-0, that's another shocker. Minnesota being 3-1, that's another shocker. They have a couple shockers out there this year.
Well, in just a moment, we're going to come back with the answer to our trivia question. We're going to have some more analysis, and then Brian Allee-Walsh goes on the hot seat. So we're going to get him some ice and some water and see if we can cool him off before it gets really hot in just a few minutes at Desi Romano's here on Paris Road in Chalmette. This is sportsNOLAtv on WHNO Channel 20.
For the most informative, diverse sports information in New Orleans and Louisiana, go to sportsNOLA.com. With the top prep sports coverage in the state and comprehensive information on the Saints, LSU, Hornets, the Zephyrs, Voodoo, Tulane, and all Louisiana colleges, sportsNOLA.com features extensive video, audio, and a tremendous number of award-winning journalists whom you can trust for accurate, candid reporting. Make it your homepage. It's a can't-miss daily visit. sportsNOLA.com.
It's time for our Sports NOLA Trivia Answer. Jari Evans started his 100th consecutive game Sunday, the second Saint in history to reach that mark. The question was, who holds the franchise record of 144 consecutive games started? Is it Archie Manning, Wayne Martin, Ricky Jackson, Durley Moore? Don't look at my paper. Who is it, Torrance? It's Wayne Martin. Did you have him?
No, I didn't have him.
And I didn't either.
And I played with him.
I didn't either. Now, Brian Allee-Walsh is going to tell us that he had Wayne Martin.
I haven't missed a trivia question in forever.
Especially after we give you the answer. That's the most important thing that really comes into play here. It's time. Hope you got the answer, by the way, folks. Hope you really did. Ken Berthelot sitting in for Ken Trahan. Telling you again, he's on the injured reserve this week. Only Brian Allee-Walsh can tell us when he's coming back, but I'll hint it'll be next week. And it is time because only Ken Trahan can handle Brian Allee-Walsh on the hot seat for more than 1 week in a row. All right, hot seat point today. Drew Brees in the first 4 games has thrown 191 attempts. That is the most attempts in 4 games in NFL history. The Saints are averaging 50 dropbacks per game and only 19 running plays. The hot seat question, Brian Allee-Walsh, are the Saints relying too much on the pass and not enough on the run? Have they given up on the run?
Well, I'm going to use the answer, in my opinion, is yes. But this is not a first-time occurrence. Okay, we've had this discussion really since, during Sean Payton's regime, really. I've felt that they have given up on the run on occasions over the years. But a prime example was yesterday when they get a 1st and goal at the Packer 2, and Drew throws 3 consecutive times into the end zone, I believe, and incomplete, and they end up kicking a field goal. And that's crucial. That's touchdown area, they have got to walk away with 6 and not settle for 3. And in you guys played it. You know, you have got to at least establish a run. Why wouldn't you turn and give it to Mark Ingram? Why wouldn't you turn and give it to Pierre Thomas? Or even, you know, Darren Sproles is not the guy you look to in that situation. He might be a guy that you give to out of shotgun formation. I'm just saying there's ways to run the football and make it an efficient. They are not a running team. I'm not saying that. But you have to keep defenses honest. And what better position to do it than first and goal at the 2? And look at it this way. If you do it on first down, second down, you know, you eat up clock, you keep the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hand, and plus you establish the line of scrimmage. And if you talk to any offensive lineman, no matter what the level is, they want to pummel a guy in front of them, and this is a way that they can do it. I think that they need to go back to the run, stay with the run longer, and make it more part of their game plan.
Torrance Small.
I agree with you.
Oh,
not
Lord.
Not often, but on this,
I think it's
agree
just
with
because
you.
I'm on the show. That's it. You know?
Maybe so, but I agree with you. Look, Drew Brees has been under a lot of pressure this year. Why? Because defensive linemen can just pin their ears back and rush because they know they're going to pass the ball.
Yes,
it puts extreme pressure on our offensive line, who's been struggling this year. Now, we have a guy like a Pierre Thomas. I'm not going to even worry about Mark Ingram. I already told you my feelings about him. I think he's a good back, but he doesn't fit this offense. I think we need to trade him and get some value in him on defense. I think Pierre Thomas needs to touch the ball at least 18 to 22 times a game. He's that type of back. He's that type of runner. He can bring a lot of value to us. He can give us that balance that we need. He's great at the screen game. We know he's one of the best screen running backs that's out there. It'll help take a lot of pressure off Drew. It'll help open up things down the field. It'll make us more balanced. We're too predictable right now. Pete Carmichael, I love you. I think you're a great coach, but I think right now they have your number now. Teams have studied you. You have tendencies right now, and it's showing on the field, and teams have caught up with us. And until we establish a running game, it's going to be more of the same.
Herb Tyler,
I agree with you guys.
If you're quarterback in a team that's run 75 running plays and 200 passing plays in the first 4 games, hey, you're a running quarterback.
Oh, he's going to love that.
Yeah. Well, no, he won't love that. He's not a throwing quarterback.
Well, you know, I'm a little biased to that because I'll probably say that I may throw maybe 90% completion ratio on that deal, but no. You know. But anyway, with that being said, you can't, you know, the best teams, as long as we've been watching football, playing football and all this stuff, the best teams that do the best have what we call balance. And if you don't have balance, if you can't say, all right, you can't stop my run, and then if you can't say, you can't stop my pass either, then what can you stop? I'm going to stop everything that you do. So therefore, if you're not going to even attempt to run the ball, all they have to do is what? Send their guys up front, pin their ears back like Torrance said, and just rush. The guys in the back, guess what they're doing? All they're doing is keying on the receivers because they don't have anything else to do. They don't have to worry about their running backs breaking through the defensive lineman or breaking through the linebacker area to get to them. They don't have to worry about that. So that puts too much pressure on the offensive line, and it does not give our guys, our running backs, an opportunity to show what they can do, which we have 3 or 4 of the best running backs in the nation.
Quick question. On the series you brought up earlier, down inside the 2-yard line, were the Saints was the Saints offense that predictable that the Green Bay defense could stop them, or was it just individual great efforts by the defenders, the defensive backs for the Green Bay Packers?
Well, you know, I really think one of the plays that Drew may have checked out of, and this is my opinion, I don't know that for a fact, I just think that he checked out of a run, and I think it was first or second down. All right, that said, you guys raise really good points. You know, the thing that amazes me after 191, almost 50-time dropbacks a game, that Drew Brees is still upright. Right. Okay? You run the risk of injuring your quarterback, for one. He's a mobile guy, but he's not a guy that's that elusive, okay? He's a sit and duck in many cases. Secondly, is that I disagree with you. I think they've got so many, Torrance said this, they've got so many offensive packages that they can't stray too far from Sean Payton, even his game plan, even though Sean's not there. Pete Carmichael is still calling, okay? But I think you know, you can give him 8 to 12 meaningful carries. I will say that.
I don't have the gavel. I don't have the judge's gavel. Where's Trahan's white wig? Doesn't he wear a white wig for this? Doesn't do that either.
You were wearing it.
Well, it might be wide enough. Hold on, I might not even need the wig. So just stay right there. It might be wide enough. I might not even need the wig. Here's the tiebreaker right here. I agree with all three of you in one way, in that if you are too overloaded on any one side of the ball, you become predictable. And when you become predictable, teams can tee off against you and make the stops where they have to make it. You can favor one, the running game or the passing game, over the other. You can be a little lopsided, but you can't be so lopsided that teams know exactly what you're going to do. And that's what's happened to the Saints so far. And Brian Allee-Walsh is correct. If the Saints continue just to drop back and tee off, sooner or later, Drew Brees is going to take a beating, and we're losing games. We cannot afford to lose Drew Brees, because right now eyes are on next year. So the hot seat decision made. I want to remind everybody that if you like our opinions and you've got a question you'd like us to answer with our opinions on sportsNOLA.tv, you can send that question in by way of Twitter at sportsNOLA or Facebook. sportsNOLA.com as a Facebook page. Or just call Brian Allee-Walsh at home and tell him you'd like to get a question in. He's not listed, but trust me, call me. I'll give you the number at the station, okay? He loves to take those calls. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll have a lot more. This is Ken Berthelot sitting in for Ken Trahan, who's on the injured reserve. We are at Desi Romano's on Paris Road in Chalmette on WHNOtv's Sports NOLA TV.
Now that we're the preferred dental office of the New Orleans Saints, we're being flooded with Saints fans.
Louisiana Dental Center? Yes, ma'am. We're home with a same-day appointment. And remember, we cater to cowards.
To help with the influx, we've added some new staff members to get some things done around here.
Yo, Saint, you could cover for me? I'm going to lunch.
Yeah, I think they're starting to catch on, but I'm not sure about the receptionist.
Now at sportsNOLA.com, some of the top stories: the Saints-Packers analysis, college football recaps, the most complete prep coverage, and you bet, the first NBC video updates, including Lenny Van Gilder, our producer for this show, along with Ken Trahan when he's not on the injured reserve list, all at sportsNOLA.com, where you can also read Brian Allee-Walsh and his comments on anything and everything, which is important, and sometimes nothing, right, which is really important. Let's talk a little bit about LSU, Tulane, and the preps, and we'll start first with the LSU Fighting Tigers. They had Towson coming in, and it was an FCS school, and Brian Allee-Walsh, it looks like LSU played down to their competition.
Yeah, it did. You know, I'll tell you what, Towson impressed me. I thought that they didn't seem intimidated to go into the Tiger Stadium. Now, of course, the weather was bad, crowd was down, and they probably a good time to.
They're always top 15 in FCS, and it's always a very fine, kind of like an Appalachian State, maybe just a step off. And Herb Tyler, how do you like the progress of Mettenberger at quarterback for the LSU Tigers right now?
He's giving you exactly what the coaching staff at LSU is asking him to do, and that's pretty much to manage the game. They're not asking him to go out and throw for 400 yards a game, or just take over the game and that kind of stuff. We like to play hard defense, great special teams, and we'll make a play. We'll throw the ball down the field every now and then off of play action. And we're going to try to run the ball down your throat, and that's Les Miles football for you. It's nothing more, nothing less.
I mean, it'll be a 38-22 win for LSU. It keeps their record at 5-0, but it's not the way LSU should be winning it. It's the style you win in, and it looks like they're just having trouble putting away teams like Towson and some of the other teams in that caliber that they played this year.
Style points have cost them 2 spots in the rankings.
Yes, they have.
Exactly.
I mean, that's right, 2 weeks. I mean, really, let's be honest here. Herb, I got a question for you. All right, Alabama, the November 3rd game in Tiger Stadium, the Crimson Tide come in. Now, you know the kind of defense that they're going to play. I suspect at some point Mettenberger's going to have to win a game for the Tigers, okay? Is he capable of doing that the way that they're keeping him under wraps right now?
I think he definitely is capable of doing that. You know, I don't doubt at all that he has the ability to do that. Now, the thing is it going to happen when he's called upon? We haven't seen him play in the fire yet. You know, that's SEC football. You know, playing against Alabama, especially at the height of where they are now, it's going to be really tough for anybody to come in and play and beat those guys. But if you have ice, you know, water running through your veins, you can do it. Now, if you're a little timid about it and you're kind of shaky about your play and how far you've progressed, then it's going to be tough for you. But once again, it's Les Miles football. They're going to try to beat you with the run game. They're going to stop you on defense and good special teams.
Well, let me ask you this here. Now, last couple of years, LSU's been playing with 2 quarterbacks. If Mecklenburg was to go down, will they be able to sustain that position? Who would come in and take over at the time? You
know, the Rivers kid is, I think, capable of managing the game once again. And then, you know, obviously the transfer from Penn State. You know, he's still learning the system, still learning the SEC. But at the same time, you know, let's hope Mettenberger does not go down. But we still have to, like you said, we have to see what he can do. We have to let him throw the ball 30 times a game. You know, we have to see if he can win the game for us versus just managing.
Is Mettenberger progressing at the rate you think a good college quarterback should progress?
You know, once again, it's hard to tell because they're not playing against the caliber of teams that they need to play against. Not to say that the teams that they've beaten are not good or not on their level completely, because these guys are getting better and better every year, as we see. But, you know, it's difficult right now. Everybody's asked me that question last year and even during the summer of this year. It's like, you know, you've played on that level, on that stage, you know, you think Mettenberger can do it. I think he has all the tools. He definitely has the tools. Now, whether or not the coaching staff is going to get him prepared, because I think that was a tremendous deal the last 3 or 4 years with our quarterbacks, is I don't believe they were prepared at all for any of the games, and they didn't know what was coming at them. So, and if Mettenberger can take it upon himself to learn defenses and to learn to get rid of the ball on time and to find the right guys, then I think you'll be okay.
You know, at LSU, you took over midway through a season, and then through the next 31 games, won 25 of those games. So you came in, had to quickly adjust, and
I was only a baby when I came in. I was still, you know, 18 years old as a true freshman. I remember playing Arkansas the final game of my freshman season in Tiger Stadium and running the option, and I'm about 6 yards away from the goal line, and I'm thinking, hey man, I'm just gonna, you know, cruise on in here. And one of the guys from Arkansas put a wallop on me, and I ain't forget it since. And from that moment on, I knew that I had to play with a lot quicker step, a lot smarter, and a lot stronger. So, you know, we're gonna see what's gonna happen.
All right, Tulane and ULM, 63-10 shellacking by ULM over the Green Wave, and of course Tulane right now minus quarterbacks number 1 and 2, and DJ Ponder, the number 3 quarterback, who spent a lot of time with baseball and didn't even join the team until a couple of weeks into spring drills, trying to help the Green Wave guys. Can CJ win a football game this year with the problems that he's had? Of course, they lost Devon Walker, and now you have 2 quarterbacks down.
I'll tell you what, 2 thoughts about Tulane's program. One, CJ has had to deal with so much adversity in his rookie season. I hope that the honeymoon is extended just beyond 1 year. He needs a 3-year honeymoon at Tulane. And then secondly, we haven't given ULM enough lip service. I'm telling you, that is a good football team. I would love to see ULM and LSU play on a neutral site, okay?
Yep, absolutely. And let me tell you, one thing CJ does have, let me say, he's got a lot of commitments, including Jesuit quarterback Tanner Lee. He's got some fine young men ready to come into that program. So if they give him that 3-year honeymoon, they give him that 3-year period, good things are going to happen. Let's move right into prep and take a look, because if we look at the prep board, some things happening there. And of course, our prep player of the week is Dane Landry. And he is a senior at North Lake Christian, had 3 catches for 83 yards, including a 35-yard touchdown catch. He had 2 interceptions on defense. One he returned 70 yards for a touchdown, and the other in the end zone at the end of the game to clinch the victory. He had 4 tackles also. Guess what, on special teams? Yes, Landry had an 84-yard kickoff return for a score as North Lake Christian held off Ellender 36-32, and Landry is coached by Tony Agresta. Wow, what a prep player of the week. A lot to be said there about that young man. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to follow or watch some of the things, but a lot of prep players really setting the world on fire. And this is going to be fun to watch recruiting. As a matter of fact, Renee Nato and I host the Prep Recruiting Insider Show every Wednesday, and the talent pool is so strong in the entire state of Louisiana this year. Take a look at some prep notes that we've got for you. Hey, Newman outscores Carver 72-68.
Who's that quarterback over there? Who's the quarterback
Y'all
at Newman?
stole my thunder. Y'all stole my thunder. Herb Tyler's son, Jay Tyler, only 5'9", 155, a sophomore. You're watching him. This is from a week ago. In 2 of the last 3 games, he has thrown 6 touchdown passes each, and that breaks a record in each of those games set by Peyton Manning back in '93 of 5 touchdown passes in the game. Hey, he's only 5'9". Goodness, Herb, is he going to grow a little bit?
He should. God's gonna bless him. Regardless, either way it goes, he's a smart player. He's a really good kid. He's a great leader. He understands the game. He's a 3-9 student. You know, I mean, it's so much that I can talk about him about. You know, he's only 15 years old. He's a sophomore. It's his 4th start last Friday. I mean, you know, he's 80% completion percentage, 1,200 yards, 19 touchdowns, 2 intercepts.
You sound like a proud pop.
You know,
I know him.
Well, look at that smile on his face. Look at that smile on his face. One more quick note, too, is Barb, who was tied with Rummel for #1 in our poll for District 5A. They were beaten, and Barb got knocked off by St. Thomas More. And St. Thomas More, that's only their 2nd win of the year, so that ought to give Rummel the top spot all by themselves in this week's poll. So interesting prep notes happening, and we'll be back with a little bit more. Ken Berthelot sitting in for Ken Trahan on the Injured Reserve on sportsNOLA.com from Desi Romano's on Paris Road in Chalmette. Back in a minute. We are at Desi Romano's, right here in Chalmette on Paris Road, enjoying Sports NOLA and some great Desi Romano food. They're known for the award-winning mac and cheese. And yes, the hamburgers and the hamburger steaks are great too. Prep Recruiting Insider, it's our new show this year. Myself and Renee Nato hosted every Wednesday at 6 p.m. and we look at some of the finest players, and including one young man who won't be recruited for he might probably be recruited now. He won't go anywhere for another 3 years because he's only a sophomore at Newman, and that is Jay Tyler. Daddy is with us today. Herb Tyler, the great quarterback at LSU, who accounted for 63 touchdowns when he was there and passed for 5,876 yards. My goodness, Herb Tyler, you have to be proud of your son, and we're proud to have you with us today.
Definitely proud of him.
Yep. Yes, we're going to talk about that in just a little while. I want to talk a little bit about the big Saints game coming up right here. The Saints and the San Diego Chargers, 0-4 versus 3-1. Saints, by the way, playing the only team to start 0-4 and then make it to the playoffs, winning the first game in the playoffs before losing the second. So can the Saints start it here? Brian Allee-Walsh.
Yeah, I think so. In fact, they're a favorite. I think they're one of the few times in history when an 0-4 team has been favored in its 5th game, and they are slightly favored at home. And yeah, I expect them to beat the Chargers on Sunday night. I really do.
But if they do that, they cannot lose the edge, Herb Tyler.
Can't lose the edge at all. You have to win. And then, you know, the Saints play so well at home, especially at night and on national TV. So I'm with Brian on this. I think we bring home a win.
Torrance Small, if you're the coaches, what do you tell this team?
Well, if I'm the coach, first thing I'm going to do is go in that field house and I'm going to tear down that sign, do your job, and I'm going to burn it in front of the players. And I'm going to let them know he's not coming back. This is my team. You either with me or against me.
There you go.
Well, if Torrance was the coach, he'd be the 3rd interim coach this season.
That's why I'm sitting in for Trahan today. It just fits into the role of interim with everything. And the New Orleans Saints. Hey, let's take a quick look at the upcoming schedule for the New Orleans Saints. 2 San Diego Chargers coming up Sunday. That is a home game. But guess what? There's a bye week and then 2 road games, which means in the month of October, this week coming up is the only home game for the Saints.
Kenny, I'll tell you what, you know, the end of the month, they get Joe Vitt back against Denver.
Yes.
And that'll complete the 6-game suspension. Maybe that'll be the stabilizing influence that this team needs. Who knows?
Well, hopefully it'll change the attitude of these guys. Right now it's all about attitude, and these guys need to change their attitude and how they approach the game.
Herb?
I'm looking for a spark on Sunday night, kind of like the Steve Gleason block, you know. And somebody's got to bring that to the table. Somebody got to show something.
And we're looking forward a week from Saturday to broadcasting on WHNOtv the John Curtis Newman game, and we're going to be watching your son Jay Tyler quarterback the Newman Greenies. That's going to wrap it up from here at Desi Romano's on Paris Road in Chalmette. Thanks for being with us on sportsNOLAtv.